Welcome. What the goal of these videos is to hopefully help those who struggle like I do with ministering. We have a desire to do it, or maybe we don't even have a desire to do it. We should have a desire to do it, but we just sometimes feel uncomfortable. We feel like we're imposing. Sometimes we even feel like we're a project to some of our companions instead of feeling unity. And I really want to hopefully help people with not feeling like this. Ministering's really hard for me because I feel like I'm imposing almost every time. So about a year and a half ago, I had a feeling to start doing videos. Maybe it's just to help me, but if I can help others, then awesome also. But one thing I do want to ask is if you guys will please share what works for you, what makes you feel comfortable, what is something that you enjoy doing and you feel that it brings you closer to the Lord and helps you with ministering. Today I want to share the conference packets that I do for my ministering families. So I'm not the greatest at going in the home and visiting. I really do feel like I'm imposing almost every time I do that. I'm not the greatest at doing ministering, period, but I am trying to do better. But I do try to do my conference packets every conference. And I've done this for a few years. I also did it for my Young Women's group when I was in Young Women's. So the one I'm going to be showing you today, the cover is up for the Young Women's, but you can write up whatever you want. I had just wrote it up for instructions for the Young Women's. But you sit down, have a prayer, and then just write, share your testimony in the front of it, or anything that you feel appropriate, that helps you minister better. You can put whatever you want in these, as long as it goes along, conference lines. So I'm just gonna start showing you. I'm not a professional at videos, as you can tell, so it's kind of gonna be goofy, but this is just how I do it. So I'm just gonna start showing you how I do my packets. They're pretty cheap and simple, so for those of us who don't have a lot of money, you're only a couple of dollars into the packets if you have your own printer. So, and I can send you the files for most of it, or it's found online on the church page also. I do get a few things off of Etsy if I've got some messages into a couple of the people, and if they are okay with it, I will put their links to their stores in my comments. But most of it I get for free or make myself. I get it for free off the church website, or I make it myself. So we're just going to start. Here is a cover page that my daughter and I put together today. And we're going to put that on the front of it because it's pretty close to the youth theme. I know we added a little bit, but it's close to it. And we haven't decided which one we're going to use. The one with the Come Unto Christ or without. We may even do a mixture of it. But so this is one that we did today. And if you feel that you want to use it, I can totally send you the file for it, so that you can print it yourself. And it's just going to go on the front of here. Here is my little thing that I was saying I wrote up for my Young Women's. This is where you could share your testimony or anything that you feel like sharing, even a recipe if we're doing it for the adults. This packet that I'm showing you right now is for the youth, but it could also go for adults because we kind of like to have fun too, right? And I find that when we're doing these, the kids and the youth, they listen to conference better. They don't get so bored. Sometimes the kids get kind of bored and they get disruptive, but if we have a activity that makes them focus on listening, it's really helpful for them and for us both. So this is my notes page that I have one for the first presidency and then one for every apostle. And that's where they can write their notes for the talks. But this is my favorite part of it. I got these offline. The church website had them at one time. I believe they still do. If not, I know you can Google it, and there's a couple of different websites that do. And I thought these were really fun because I'll focus in on some. They just give a little bit of history. They're called infographs. For those who go on looking, they're called infographs on the apostles. And we've got one for every single one. And I just put them side by side so that they can see. And then, make sure you can see those. This is Elder Kieran's. I actually just found it today. They didn't have one last conference, so I was pretty excited to find his. So I haven't got his put in yet. So here is the notes for other speakers who are not the general authorities, but you still, there are some amazing speakers that something just resonates with you. I've got enough notes in here for a few other ones. We live out by the Vernal Temple, so I put the Vernal Temple behind. You could do your closest temple. You could do a picture of Christ. You could just leave it plain. You don't have to do it how I did it. So there's just some ideas there for notes. Then I thought this was kind of fun. It kind of gets them listening a little bit better because they want to come up, well, what was my favorite quote? So they listen a little closer, and there's a spot for a few favorite quotes. Favorite talks. So, if they want to go back and listen, they can write down who their favorite talk was. Excuse me. Then I put a spot for their testimony. And then goals. So that they could do their goals. Sorry, I'm a little shaky. And then I got these off Etsy. So these are ones that hopefully they'll let me put links to their store. I'll just hurry through them. But there's some really neat ones. So, and they're cheap. They're so cheap. Another thing, I closed it before I showed you. I do have bingo packs. Bingo cards in all of them. Conference squares, they call them. And these are off the church website. And they have quite a few different ones so that not everybody gets the same one, of course. And I put 3 or 4 in the adult and youth packets, and then I put 5 in each of the primary age kids, just so they have one for each. But you don't have to do that. You can just do 2 or 3 or whatever. Even just do 1 if, you don't really have enough money to print a bunch. 1 is good for each member of the family. Just do a different one so they all have a different card and they can switch and mix it up or whatever. They can color them. That's one reason I do 5. Another reason I do 5 is so they can switch it up so that the little kids don't get bored with the same one every single time. But I add packs of M&Ms to it. I don't have families that have allergies, so I add packs of M&Ms, and the kids can put their little M&Ms on it, and then if they want to, they can eat the M&Ms as a treat. Sometimes that helps keep them entertained. In the little kid packets, I don't have one made up, but I'm getting ready to make them. So all of this came off the church website, and I will put the links to it in my comments so that you guys have them, because the church has some really, really neat stuff in for conference for little kids. And theirs that they put together I really like, because for the little kids they can draw or color a picture down here, or they can write notes if they're old enough to write notes. So you can have both for the little ones. And again, they have for the first presidency and then every apostle. I leave them blank on the back for coloring too, for their little drawing. I really do like that. They also have on the church website, they have a few different games besides the conference squares. They have like ties. You print it out and the kids color the tie that each apostle was wearing. What color was his tie, and they color it that color. They have a few other fun ones too. They also have some, where did I put them? They also have some coloring pages on there too that, oh, right here. So they have coloring pages on there for conference also. And like I say, I also go onto Etsy and print out, I want to try to find some good Doctrine and Covenants coloring pages. I haven't yet, but hopefully I will. So that you give them a few different things. I do put a couple of different games. I do the conference squares, I do the ties, and there's another one, I can't remember what it is because I ran out of and hadn't got any more done. But I find all of them on the church site. They have a lot of resources on there to keep the kids entertained, and it really does help. And I think it's a good ministering thing. So there's my conference packets. You guys share what do you do for conference? What do you do for your own family that keeps them excited and interested in conference? What do you do for your ministering family? Share what you do so that we can all learn from each other. I hope this helps somebody. For Easter, we're going to be doing we do little tombs with edible Easter grass and Oreo cookies and stuff. We'll be doing a little video on that when it gets a little bit closer to Easter for next month. And if I have anything that comes up, or if there's anything that any of you want me to share, go ahead and let me know, and we can do that too. So anything you guys want to share, please do so. I hope this helps somebody. Ministering is hard. It's really hard for me. It's not hard for everybody. There's some awesome people out there that just get out there and do a good job, but for me it's hard. And so these are things that help me open up, help me be able to interact with my families, but not feel like I'm imposing. I've actually had a few families here in town ask for my packets over the years because their little kids actually sit down and listen to conference because of them. So I think that's why the Lord put all this stuff on the church website. He knows that the kids have to be entertained, but it helps them listen and it helps them learn when they're focusing on what color is that tie and they're coloring it to look just like the tie they're wearing. It really does help them to focus. So, ideas, send in my way. Thank you so much.